The Battlefield 3 endgame map pack came out today. If you couldn't tell by the title of that map pack, this game is coming towards its end. So, it's time to begin wild speculation about what comes next. Everything you want and love and like in life and games is a dopamine rush. It's this special chemical released in your brain when you experience something pleasurable. Whether that pleasure be through curiosity or excitement, a good song, a blowjob, it's all the same chemical permeating through your neurons. Scientists are starting to get worried about our generation's mental stability and social health because we have a porn addiction. I'm not joking. We're the first kids to grow up on high-speed internet. You, right now, if you are under the age of 20, you are a part of like the most fucked up human social experiment ever conducted. And what's wrong is, huge chunks of our generation's population is getting addicted to porn because it's such a dopamine rush. For the male mind, there's no higher dopamine hit than titties with cum on them. God damn it, I promised myself I would say that without laughing. And so, what happens, and most of you probably know from personal experience, is by age 10, on average, kids are just able to see anything they want at the click of a button. It's literally like doing drugs. Like when you hit meth, you're spiking your dopamine. I promise you, I'm going to make a point here about Battlefield. Just bear with me. This is exactly what you're doing with porn, too. It's like doing drugs. You can just spike your dopamine again and again and again at the click of a button. It's easier than doing meth. With meth, you have to at least pack the pipe. The average porn addict will just have like 8 tabs open of all kinds of awesome porn, and they'll just hop back and forth, and by the end, it's like your brain has just been through a meth binge. Seriously. Meth is stronger, but it's the same principle. And I'm sure most of you know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. And what's happening is that, just like with hard drugs, the brain is getting so obsessed with these massive and sustained dopamine spikes that when it has to deal with something more trivial that doesn't just overload you on dopamine, such as human conversation, the mind has trouble operating, focusing, it fails. And so these psychiatrists are starting to get real worried about the mental health of us teens because if our mind can't function if it can't manage to perform benign tasks like conversation, how is it going to do work, school, anything? How can we maintain basic human relationships when the structural integrity of our mind has formed a massive gas tank that needs to be filled with dope to operate? And this is a whole generation we're talking about. This isn't, 1 out of 10. They had trouble conducting these experiments because they couldn't operate with a control group because they couldn't find a single teenager that wasn't watching porn regularly. Stop watching porn, replace it with video games. These games are designed to maximize your dopamine rushes. I'm not kidding. They focus group test it. That's what makes these games fun. Those numbers that pop up on your screen when you pop a motherfucker, those are designed to release dopamine. And that's something I think Battlefield has actually done better than most other games. Maybe it's like the color of the text, but those numbers that pop up on your screen, like even when you're just repairing a tank, the numbers, the color of the numbers, the size, I don't know what it is, but they look and feel really good, and you know it. The human mind revolves around a reward and incentive philosophy. You do something right, you're rewarded. Particularly with these numbers showing up on your screen. Now, what Call of Duty did was genius, because they took the reward system to a new level. Kill streaks. Alright? That wasn't just like a bright idea. They realized there was a process where they were like, the human mind responds to reward and incentive, let's give it more rewards. Alright? And when you ask kids, why don't you play, other multiplayer games like Battlefield, the most common answer you'll get is it doesn't have a reward system like Call of Duty score streaks. And the developers know that. Notice how every multiplayer game since Modern Warfare 2 has incorporated some sort of reward system. Medal of Honor, Homefront, Halo, Crysis, every single game has a reward system now. That's not a coincidence. It works. It's what defines the game. Now, DICE hasn't come around because they are stupid, anal, arrogant pricks. Alright, I'm going to do some DICE bashing here. And if you're in the Battlefield camp, before you get angry with me, just remember that I'm speaking as a Battlefield fan. And I think I'm pushing like 30 days played if you combine my console and PC accounts. So, 1v1 me, noob. Now, DICE, they hate Call of Duty. That much is obvious. And so they do not want to admit that Call of Duty did something right. They think they have the better game. But the fact is, if they had the better game, they would be selling more copies. That's how capitalism works. The numbers don't lie. Battlefield 4 on the next-gen consoles will be a masterpiece. and it is in position to overthrow Call of Duty. The coup d'etat is already underway. It can be done. But if they are serious about competing, they need to incorporate a streak reward system. Obviously, vehicles are already in the game, so they could bring in, UAVs, Predator missiles, the AC-130. They have the dropship in this new map pack. Make the dropship a kill streak, alright? They need to swallow their pride. They're not going to beat Call of Duty until they accept that they have been beaten by Call of Duty. And you know why they can't do it? I'll tell you why. Because they were making these kind of games before Call of Duty. They think they're like the old pro, and that Call of Duty is just a fad. They're like those newspaper editors that can't accept that news is now digital. I don't want Call of Duty to be king anymore. I hate these motherfuckers and their bullshit. And they get away with murder in the form of lag compensation and broken cameras and no dedicated servers because they have an invisible monopoly on dopamine. That's what it is. Dopamine is what makes or breaks the game. DICE needs to accept that, or Battlefield 4 will just be another almost.